I mean, how did they even get such a star like Bill Paxton even star in this? I mean, I love him. I mean,
he's not a big star.
Yes.
Whoa.
He is in many movies.
It's a good cast.
But he's like Joe Pantoliano. Like, he's good in a lot of good movies, but no one's like Bill Paxton isn't like, Tom Hanks. He's not like Tom Cruise. He's not like that level of star.
Those guys wish they could be Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
Right now is the time for me to leave everything I know behind. No more lies.
I have waited with a glacier's patience, smashed every transformer with every trailer till nothing was standing. 65 miles wide, but still you are nowhere in sight.
Lou Reed.
No.
I think, isn't that a verse from 99 Luftballons?
Ooh, very wrong.
That would be all German, though. 99 Sachschlagen schlug, schlagen.
This is a song by a...
Really?
I want to say she might be Canadian, but she might also be American.
Shania Twain.
Celine Dion.
Shania Twain.
Sometimes in a rock band, sometimes lots of solo albums.
Bryan Adams.
Fantastic
Sister.
voice. Been active since like 2000, like past 20 years or so.
Sexually active since 2020.
I'm just doing word association now. Ben Affleck.
I don't know.
Been active.
Wait,
It's on topic. It has to do with the thing that we're talking about today. So I thought for sure.
Well, if Twista's sister.
Grimes.
This is the rapper Twista.
Grimes? Wait. Grimes?
Isn't she Canadian?
Leanne Rhymes?
Grimes? I don't know.
Man.
I don't know any Canadian artists.
You do. You know this.
It's a shallow well
you
of talent.
Know this.
Rush.
The Bare Naked Ladies. The Tragically Hip.
We'll be here all night.
Moxie Fruvis.
All right. This is from a song called This Tornado Loves You by Nico Case.
Nico Case.
Track one.
Chicago, man.
Middle Cyclone 2009. No, I thought she lives in Canada and she has like a farm or something.
I don't know. I thought she was because she was a bartender in Chicago, man. Like, that's how she gets started.
So was everybody.
In the
But that
music
doesn't mean
industry.
you're not Canadian.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I wouldn't have thought Nico Case.
Yeah. So this song was on topic about what we're going to talk about today. And so we're going to get to it. So welcome to another episode of Rabbit Fighters. I'm Joshua.
I am Brian, coming to you live from the National Severe Storms Laboratory. And,
NSST with underlines. So you're like, wait, it's an acronym.
Michael Crichton, off to a good start.
I'm that guy with the big gums from the Storm Chaser crew who always looks like he's super whacked out on like some drug or Rabbit.
I know exactly.
Go by Rabbit, but also Greg. Yeah, the guy with the big gums.
All right. In the wise words of Frank Black, it is time for stormy weather. Later this year, we're all anticipating, seat of our pants here, the release of Twisters. Plural, which is the sequel to the popcorn movie we'll be talking about this week. It was released in 1996 by director Jan de Bont. I think, is that Dutch pronouncing? Jan de Bont.
Jan de Bont, I believe, is pronounced.
Rest in peace. Who was primarily a cinematographer for most of his career, but also known for directing both Speed and Speed 2 Cruise Control. This film stars Helen Hunt as Dr. Joe Harding and Bill Paxton as Bill Harding, not a doctor, and their team of misfit tornado chasers as they tear across the countryside of Oklahoma, risking life, limb, and insurance premiums on their pickup truck, hunting down tornadoes during a historic series of twister-producing storms in order to place Dorothy, an experimental cloud of sensors, into the path of one of these conveniently increasing in intensity tornadoes to better understand how they work and hopefully, God willing, increase the tornado threat detection system from 3 minutes, fivefold, to 15 minutes. All while Joe and Bill navigate their feelings for each other as they approach the end of their divorce proceedings. And to help with the discussion today, we are joined by special guest of the show and self-described weather phenomenon film buff, Tim. Welcome, Tim.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Long time listener, first time caller.
Tim, we don't go way back, but you and Brian do.
Oh man, decades.
Yeah,
decades of watching movies.
It's true.
Doing Bill Paxton impressions.
Game over, man.
Yeah. Would you say that you are only a weather-related movie expert or a destruction?
That's a good question, Brian. I deal with all manner of destruction, whether it be natural, man-made, Transformers, alien, whatever.
If it involves a monument going boom.
If it came from Cybertron, it still counts.
I've noted that. I've made that.
All right. Well, it's great because we've never had a movie weather expert guest before on our show.
It's true.
We may have had a meteorologist or three, but
yeah, Tim, why Twister?
Why now?
Twister, let me tell you, went on a first date to Twister years ago.
I knew you were going to say that.
Really?
I knew you were going to say that, man.
and this is back in the 90s. Mom had to give me a ride, and no cell phones, all that kind of stuff. And there were two movie theaters in the town where Brian and I. Well, Brian, you didn't live there quite as long as I did, but there were two movie theaters at the time in the town that I lived in, and I went to one, and the girl went to the other theater. So I watched this all by myself. And it started, a lifelong passion for weather-related films. And
wait, did she watch the other one at the other theater, and then
yes.
You talked about it afterwards?
Yes.
Did you end up going on another date, or was that like you blew it?
She's actually upstairs sleeping right now, guys.
No,
it's not my wife. I'm just kidding. I never saw this girl.
No, she's sleeping in our attic. She turned out life didn't work out too well for her, so she stays in our attic.
No, I never saw her again. Actually,
she died on the ride home.
She died.
Twister got her. It's crazy.
I do think we do. I will say, a bit of a spoiler alert. I think we both have a mutual love for Bill Paxton.
Oh man, you guys don't.
This is where the needle gets raised.
I thought you were going to say, spoiler alert, we both went on dates that didn't work out with the same girl.
That's true. It was my sister, actually.
I told her to go to the other theater. I don't want to date. I don't want dating Tim.
I don't blame her.
So then I take it, Greg, you were the one in the group who was not.
Yeah, I've never seen Twister. Yeah.
So somehow you missed this.
Yeah, man.
On purpose. On purpose. It's like when we were going through the Junior, we were going through all the Schwarzenegger movies I hadn't seen, and all the shitty ones on the scale. You were like, you haven't seen that one either? I'm like, yeah, on purpose. I didn't see Jingle All the Way. I didn't see Junior. I didn't see the Mr. Freeze one. And I didn't see this on purpose because I was like, this looks fucking stupid when the previews came out. It did not appeal to me.
This movie was everywhere that summer, though.
I know, and I stayed as far away from it as I could all summer.
Are you just anti-Blockbuster? Because this is the second highest grossing film of '96.
It depends. Like, I didn't think Die Hard was going to be good, and I saw Die Hard, and I was like, this is incredible. I think it's great. There are some movies, because, these big budget movies usually have have at least some unbelievable shit in them, unless they're doing those like Bourne movies, and even those have some unbelievable shit in them. But like, it just depends on whether I'm going to go along for the ride or whether it's going to bug me the whole time. Like, if the movie's super well made, I can overlook the dumb logical lapses and the fantastical bullshit that they come up with. And if I don't like the movie, then I'm like, it annoys the fuck out of me because, the movie isn't distracting enough for me to overlook it. So.
All right. Well, so I gave a little bit of an intro about the plot, but Greg, as the one in the group who hasn't seen it until now, why don't you do the honors, man? What is this movie about?
Here's the recap of Twister as I saw it. Okay, so
he's gonna start making
it starts out. Because apparently the Twisters make the same sounds as the dogs from fucking Ghostbusters. The dogs of Mordor or whatever the fuck. But yeah, so it starts out with the world's dumbest family in Tornado Alley, and they are hanging out in their kitchen watching a tornado come right up to their house, and they're just like, huh. It seems weird, almost like it's a tornado outside. And then all of a sudden, They're like, tornado. Let's run 75 fucking yards across the yard to where our tornado shelter is, very conveniently located. And they run, and then there's a dog, and the dog almost gets lost, and you think the dog is going to have some significance, but it doesn't. And they go down to the storm shelter, and the dad has fastened a storm shelter with a fucking like little swinging in the front of your yard gate for that you don't even really need, or like a porta potty, lock that's keeping the hatch on their storm shelter. And it starts shaking in the wind, and the dad is like, you know what I'll do? I'll grab the door and hold it down from a fucking tornado.
This is just the first 3 minutes.
Just the first 3 minutes.
Hopefully we can.
Unassailable.
And and wouldn't you know it, the tornado sucks him up as he holds onto the door, but then everything else in the room is fine. It just apparently it just sucks up dads and doors, but not candles or children or anything else. And we find out, as I instantly expected, that the girl in the cellar is the traumatized protagonist who it turns out to be Helen Hunt. And I was correct. And then we find out that Helen Hunt is a storm chaser now, and she's connected with all these wackadoodles plus weather people. And what she does is she tries obsessively to chase twisters and possibly kill herself, so that she can release Christmas ornaments into a twister one day and read how fast the inside of twisters go, which is going to save people somehow because of warnings. But she also is married, but almost not married, to Bill Paxton, who's kind of a grumpy guy, and he's about to marry someone else. And through a weird
therapist.
Bunch of the worst
in the 90s.
In the 90s, therapist, and he's going to be a weatherman, you see, which is another horrible thing to be. And they've come to get the divorce papers signed by Helen Hunt's character, but through dumb avoidance techniques, she doesn't finish signing the papers, and they all run off chasing some twisters for the rest of the movie. And sometimes twisters come down and destroy things and kill people. Sometimes twisters come down and take nails off of planks and don't touch anyone. Sometimes the twisters wait for the plot to stop and people to get in fist fights over dumb shit. And sometimes the twisters are like, all right, it's time for the plot to pick up again, and they start again. And an irregular pattern of twisters happens, sometimes breaking things and sometimes not. And eventually it blows up some cars and stuff, and they get back together. The people who you knew from the moment they saw each other to sign the divorce papers were going to get back together, and the whole wackadoodle gang who runs after twisters together, full of people who are semi-famous but have no purpose at all. They get back together, and Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton make out in front of them, and they cheer.
Pretty good synopsis.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, Tornado Alley, bro.
Yeah,
it's Tornado.
Do they not have a lot of tornadoes up in Massachusetts?
They have none.
That explains it.
They just don't even have a single one.
Tim and Brian and I, we've all lived in the South for long periods of time. Greg, now you are living in the South
they have
as
some
well.
out here.
But
they have some here.
As a kid, as a youngster, you guys exposed to much tornado action?
More hurricanes than tornadoes.
Yeah.
Which I attribute to the success of the Dorothy.
You're in Florida.
The warning system clearly was devised, and we're safe.
You got the warning, the early warning, 15 minutes of warning to save lives.
Hurricanes hitting.
Yeah, we'll go back to my upbringing in Missouri, but yeah, there was a lot of like warnings. I remember like the sky being really green and like thinking like it's when when tornado warnings would happen. I've never seen one in person, or I don't like nothing, but I've always had a million warnings, where you get under your desk, like that's going to do anything. It's cool.
Sometimes this movie would seem to say that it would be very effective sometimes.
Sometimes it is.
Sometimes.
Yeah. I think, starting off from your very the first thing that jumped out at me this movie is that there's literally no reason for her dad to be dead.
None.
So
none.
Like you said, Helen Hunt is the little girl and the wife. The door gets ripped off. They're totally fine. Like why?
They're fine. The candles next to them are fine.
Oh, yeah.
Everything in the room is fine. Only the dad and the door are died. The little dog that you're like, oh, he's going to go back and try to save the little dog, and the little dog's going to come in, and dad's going to be running for the door, and he'll get sucked up, and that's how dad's going to die, because I knew dad was going to die right away.
Yeah, I think he thought it was just going to create like a suction in the suck zone, and it was going to pull everybody out.
But
yeah,
like,
that was
they have this whole thing about the dog. We're like, oh no, Scrappy's out there.
Nice.
And you're like, okay, Scrappy's going to have there's going to be something that happens dramatic because of Scrappy. But fucking no. Like, oh, thank God we let Scrappy in. And then you're like, all right. And then the dad does dumb shit and gets killed. And you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
The dog in really danger is a recurring point too.
You don't know how much time he spent putting that door on that storm cellar. I mean, he could have hours invested in that, and he doesn't want to see it go.
He took the door off the outhouse and just slapped it on the.
These things don't grow on trees,
Yeah, the missus is getting on me to make one of them storm shelters. I'll show her. I'll do a half-assed job.
I done reckon this could survive a suck zone. I think this is gonna do it.
The missus is a real category 5 when she's on my case, if you know what I mean.
I don't give her the finger of God if I don't do it.
Oh my God! This is why every municipality needs a robust permit department. Otherwise, you come in
robust.
So
you gotta have a robust permit department.
As our resident mediocretologist.
Mediocretologist. How mediocre is this movie?
No, I was that. Well, that's Tim's title.
Mediocretologist.
Mediocre.
That's true.
I got a master's in mediocretology. I'll have you know.
Mediocretology. There you go. Upon rewatching this, when's the last time you saw this? Was it when it came out, and then rewatching it?
No, you and I at least watched this at least once or twice, like years ago. That's how we came up with one of our Bill Paxton impressions.
Oh, it's true.
You guys were drinking heavily, apparently.
The impression just looking off into the distance at the clouds.
No. My favorite line from this whole film is just like, "Sign the papers, Joe." Sign the papers, Joe. Like over and over again. So how many times he really gets those papers?
Dorothy,
Joe is not signing
here.
Just sign him.
Dorothy, she's here.
No, on rewatch, I have to say a couple. Bill Paxton with the finger guns when he shows up to the storm chasers. I was like, "This is beautiful." And this whole I don't know what, he's like a fucking weather whisperer out there, putting he's Maximus in Gladiator with the sand.
He picks up dirt.
I think there's gonna be a storm, Dusty.
He's like, the rocks and sand will tell me the direction the twister will take. I'm one with the land, like a Native American tracker.
Yeah, I'm with Carrie Elwes on that one, where he was like, with derision, we're not going to be smelling the dirt anymore. He's got a point. That doesn't really do anything.
It doesn't do shit. It just gets dirt in your hands.
But the proof is in the pudding, because Bill Paxton, he's preternatural.
Tornado whisperer. Every single time he's like, hold on a minute. It's going to turn left. It's a sidewinder. And by the way, all their southern accents are friggin' ridiculous. Even though Bill Paxton's from Texas, I think.
Oklahoma.
They have the shittiest southern accent. Carrie Elwes, you're like, half the time he sounds British. You're like, what the fuck, man? He's just phoning it in.
Yeah, I love him and his evil goons. Yeah. his evil scientist goons are
evil
a gang
scientists.
Of street
in
toughs
their
they get into.
Vans.
Yeah.
And they're bad because all their cars are black.
Yeah,
they're all black. And they have high-tech equipment.
They get into the scuffle in the middle of the road and they break it up, and then they're Carrie Elwes and gang are walking into the diner, and all of his goons are looking over their shoulder, laughing at this silly gang of misfit meteorologists.
Whatever.
But they are.
I was gonna say, you're telling me these guys worked and met at a science lab, but the guy designs orbs that are squares to float. Let's design the least aerodynamic
square.
object.
Totally different.
Fall into a tornado.
But there's that part where Bill Paxton is that fucking Jonas guy, he went to a research center and got research money and like sold out to corporations.
Sponsors,
He
man.
wants it. And he's like, yeah, he did fucking science. He didn't pick up dirt and like rub it around his hands and like drive trucks into a fucking rut and almost die over and over again. Like, yeah, he went all corporate and tried to get real equipment. Like, yeah, everyone who wants to do science.
He's in it for the money, not for the science.
Not for the science. Like, okay.
Yeah, he says that kind of off in the distance. He's not in it for the science.
he's one of those get rich quick twister chasers. You know, those guys.
I did love that as the setup for his character because there's so many like the director Jan de Bont. Like he's only made like 4 movies like as a director. Everything else was like cinematography. So there was like a ton in there
with good reason
where I could like appreciate like what he was trying to do. Like the therapist is only in there as a surrogate for the audience because she's dumb and she doesn't understand this entire world, and every interaction has to be explained to her and the audience, which it's effective. But the Carrie Elwes part, where he introduces Carrie Elwes's character and he tells you everything you need to know, like and to Helen Hunt as they're driving by, he's only in it for the money and the science. That's all I need to know. Thank you, Bill Paxton. Let's move on to the next scene.
What's funny too is the therapist who's the stand-in for the audience, which is absolutely correct. You nailed that. The thing is, none of that needs to be explained because no one understands it after they say it anyway. All you have to tell them is like the category 1 through 5. Everything else that everyone says, like Rabbit and Chester and Bip Bip and all the other fucking clowns that hang out with them, they're all like, you know, we get a Z25 vector on the south side of the portal, and then we got the sideways rain coming in from the Traman lines, and you're like, this is all fucking nonsense. You could say anything. It doesn't make any more sense to the audience than anything else, and it's just to make them sound like they know what they're doing. But like honestly, not a single other person on that crew needs to be on the fucking crew. Like, and from what I've gathered, like there was like 2 times where someone's like, I have a map and I can tell you how to get to the highway from here. And you're like, hey, he did something.
Yeah, map guy's really important.
Because the rest of the time they're just like jarheads fucking flapping their faces. And you're like,
what about this dude like rolling around in his station wagon? Like buying, like nobody wants to ride with him. I don't remember. What was he bringing to the table?
He's like playing Ride of the Valkyries or something when they're all cranking like, Van Halen or the Scorpions or something.
He's the weird
guy
like, that no one wants to roll with.
So many of them are absolutely superfluous. Like they have no fucking point.
I feel like you're punching holes in Twister, and there really aren't any.
Right in the middle. Every Twister is made around a hole. This whole movie is made around a hole.
It does seem like some of the crew disappear for long stretches, and then maybe like I didn't see the girl at the beginning. All of a sudden, the girl with the
girl with the glasses.
Where'd you come from? And then the dude with the curly blonde hair, like
that's a Chicago actor from Looking Glass Theater, Joey Slotnick.
I didn't see him again after the beginning. Where'd he go? Maybe he joined the corporate guys.
Oh yeah, I think Blossom was in the beginning, but then I didn't see her later.
Is that Mayim Bialik or whatever?
She had the floppy hat.
Yeah, I was like, she looks familiar, so I would have believed that.
We need another girl here.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, I'm a lady that doesn't act like a lady. I'm just a pair of glasses with hair and like 5 lines. Like,
I'm a scientist.
There's no point to that character either.
I can guarantee
Dusty gets his own whip. For some reason, like he's just blasting music and just riding along. Like he has no function.
Making leery faces at Jamie Gertz after she's announced that she's married, engaged to Bill Paxton. He's like, got the goggles on. He's like, maybe I'll put my face real close to yours and make it uncomfortable. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like your friends.
Billy leaves her with him.
That is a good line. Where he's like
buddy cops.
Yeah, he's like, why do you hang out with Dusty? And Dusty, you can explain to her why you are the way you are. He walks off like, that's a good line. That's at least funny.
I gotta go find Joe. Where's Joe? Like the whole movie's asking where Joe is at.
Joe, wait.
Joe.
Yeah.
Wait.
And you're like, oh, the great love between you is so evident, like never.
That's one of my notes of this decade of filmmaking, or maybe it's just disaster movies in general. But it's like where everything is so visual and it's all just craziness, but then all the like relationships and characters are just completely telegraphed from like the first moment. Like, okay, they're gonna end up together. Let's get some tornadoes going. Like it's like the dumbest plot.
It's the either it's the divorced couple who recently divorced, or it's the almost divorced couple that just seem to not ever be able to finalize the goddamn divorce. And you're like, would you just either shit or get off the pot in this plot point?
No,
you know?
you need a tornado to bring you together. That's where you find love, in the middle of a tornado. It's a metaphor.
Right. Flying cows bring love.
Let's let the esteemed guest tell us the good about Twister.
The Mediocretologist.
What did you find enjoyable and endearing about Twister?
Let me tell you what's great about Twister.
Let me tell you.
I just love that there are tornadoes that touch down 30 some miles away, and you can drive to that tornado and it's still there. To me, that's fantastic. I like was she an aunt or something? Helen Hunt's aunt that lives in Tornado Alley with like shrapnel all through her fucking lawn. Like, this was a great idea. Idea. She's probably responsible for half the deaths in Wakita that night.
She lives inside a grenade.
Yeah.
Wait, these are things you like about the movie.
Like,
these are unassailable likes of the movie.
That she lives amongst a shrapnel field.
Yeah, she's just and what's great about this movie? It taught me appreciation for tornadoes and that I don't want to be around them. It seemed pretty cool to me, honestly. I was like, hey, look what it did for Dorothy. Not the machine, but the Wizard of Oz character seemed kind of cool.
Oh yeah,
it made her
transformative.
Absolutely. I think it was one of the first movies I saw in a movie theater that like shit got like really screwed up, like fucked up from the but like it wasn't like an alien thing. I'm like, well, this could really happen. This was probably real. And in my 15-year-old mind, not realizing that no, there's not tornadoes like every 5 seconds, and you can't go chasing after them and stuff. But it just kind of like, I don't know, natural disasters in a movie, and not like Independence Day type of Godzilla shit like that. I thought that. Did you think
at any point when you watched in the theater, oh man, this would have been a sweet opportunity for a scared female on a date to clutch onto me?
I mean, I just kept looking. I had my popcorn, and I was like, where
man, there's so many clutch moments here.
If only cell phones had been invented.
Random wife, I was hugging her, and it was
blowing this whole thing here. Shit.
Seriously.
There's a relationship that comes together, and we're just starting to start one.
Were you pleasantly surprised after Twister to then realize that the next 10 years would just be all about destructive movies? Because I was telling this earlier, I did just off the top of my head, there's 11 disaster movies I could think of in the 90s.
Yeah.
And
did this one come first?
Of which are natural disasters. So I think this kicked off a thing. I mean,
Volcano,
Armageddon, Deep Impact, Dante's Peak, Outbreak. We got a virus. Volcano, Apollo 13, Space Problems, Independence Day, Alien Disaster, Titanic, Boat, Alive, Plane Crasher. People got
but that was real. That
some
actually...
of these are stretching a little bit.
These are all like disaster movies, like where some shit goes wrong.
Yeah, well, the plane crashes in Alive, I guess.
I like that it occurred to me that Alive was real before it occurred to me that Titanic was real. The second I said it, I was like, oh yeah, Titanic.
Oh wait, James Cameron didn't invent Titanic.
I'd also like to enter Deep Blue Sea into evidence as well.
Yeah.
Because a shark eats people in that one. That's in the 90s.
How many of these movies have Bill Paxton in them? At least 2?
At least 3.
5%.
At least 3?
Apollo
okay.
13, Titanic, that's 2.
Yeah.
This one.
And this Twister, obviously. Yeah.
Vertical Limit.
Vertical Horizon.
Was he?
No, Vertical Limit.
You're just making up movies now.
Vertical Horizon is a shitty band.
That's a movie?
Vertical Limit is.
Oh.
So you're saying Twister was in the first wave of
wave?
Yeah,
it's like the specials, first wave ska of disaster movies.
I think there was a kick. I think I was trying to figure out, did this kind of kick off the not CGI thing, but I think Jurassic Park was kind of kick off.
Also, Michael
Jurassic
Crichton.
Park was like 93. Yeah, Michael Crichton helped write this. This
Michael
gem
Crichton
as well.
did
Twister,
Jurassic Park,
and his
Congo,
wife.
ER, and the Andromeda, and he wrote his wife. What?
No, his wife and Michael Crichton and his wife wrote the screenplay for this. For Twister.
His wife was invented by Michael
real.
Crichton.
He made her up. Yeah, he named a tornado after her.
Dorothy.
F3.
His wife Dorothy.
I mean, how did they even get such a star like Bill Paxton even star in this? I mean, I love him. I mean,
he's not a big star.
Yes.
Whoa.
He is in many movies.
It's a good cast.
But he's like Joe Pantoliano. Like, he's good in a lot of good movies, but no one's like Bill Paxton isn't like, Tom Hanks. He's not like Tom Cruise. He's not like that level.
Those guys
star.
wish they could be Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like Bill Paxton, but he's not like one of Hollywood's biggest stars. He's just in a lot of good movies.
Weird Science, Tombstone, Apollo 13.
He's great in a bunch of movies. He's also not that great in some movies.
He was in
including
Navy
this
SEALs.
one.
What were you doing?
Navy SEALs. I don't think he's good. I don't think he's good in Twister. I think he's pretty bad in Twister.
I'm joking. I mean, love Bill Paxton. I personally love Bill Paxton. I think he's a good actor.
Me too.
But I was trying to think. Is he the poor man's Tom Hanks?
He reminds me of what's his name? Dennis Quaid a lot. He's similar.
That's a good comparison. Yeah.
Mannerisms and ways of doing stuff, and he does similar movie choices where he's like in a medium big movie a lot, or he's a smaller character in a big movie. And he definitely had a shelf life a little bit.
I couldn't remember who
Dennis Quaid's doing movies about reincarnated dogs now.
He's still alive.
Dennis Quaid was in Dreamscape, man. Dreamscape.
Didn't see it.
I thought Tom Hanks, because Tom Hanks was originally had this role and he turned it down, and he was doing Apollo 13 with Bill Paxton and said, and suggested to Steven Spielberg, you should look at Bill Paxton.
This is exactly how Boogie Nights, how Marky Mark got into Boogie Nights.
Tom Hanks was going to be in Boogie Nights?
This is a game of telephone now.
I think he was going to play the prosthetic dong.
I've heard he's pretty well hung. But
Tom Hanks was written by Michael Crichton? He doesn't even exist? I can't believe that. I thought he was real.
Joshua, did you enjoy Twister?
I actually did. As a popcorn movie goes, I definitely had lots of moments. I made my teenage son watch it. My wife came in. We all sat down and watched it together. I remember seeing it in the theater and remembering it pretty fondly, but I don't think I've seen it since then. It's a roller coaster. It's a white knuckle thrill ride from beginning to end.
Reading from the back of the DVD case.
Yeah, there's a character called Kubrick, and there's The Shining.
The Shining's in there
on the
very subtle references. There. Yeah, very subtle.
I don't think you can mistake this for fine art. I don't think it's trying to be any more than it actually is. So I thought it was cool.
In addition to the people who are useless on Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt's crew, I was also struck by how utterly fucking useless the scenes in that like weather center are.
Oh, yeah.
Where that lady with the coffee mug who's prominently drinking coffee is like jibber jabbering a bunch of weather crap that nobody understands, and you're like, oh, those are the ones that are feeding Jonas and his goons. They're science, but like it's all completely fucking superfluous. Like they have 4 or 5 scenes with these people where you're like, they had the whole set, all these background actors. These 2 people got paid like a ton of money. They probably spent days filming this crap, and it's utterly fucking useless. Like there's no point for them at all. They're like, look, a red and green bunch of blots on a screen that if this was a corporation and you were doing layoffs, everyone in this room. I am so sorry. It is with heavy hearts that we announced the layoffs of the entire fucking weather center from this movie.
And that's why we still don't have a 15-minute warning system.
That's right. That's like, what are they fucking doing? You need Christmas ornaments to go into a tornado to fucking figure this out? And when you get this, what are these people here for?
I can't believe how dismissive you are of pure science.
It's pure bullshit. They're all just like...
That's one of the key tropes of like any disaster movie, or especially like a weather-related disaster movie. A bunch of expert-looking people around computers slowly like dropping their coffee mug. Like, oh no! Like
this is a big one. We're like, we know it's right in front of us. It's the size of the entire screen.
I think there's always this necessity to try to put science to make it seem legit, but no one really cares.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, whatever that means.
I feel like there's more science in this than there was in Junior by a long shot.
Again, why does Bill Paxton want to die in a tornado? Like, they never explain that, and they don't seem to feel the need to explain that. Like, I don't know why they need to. Why do they need to explain one person's obsession with killing themselves in a tornado and not everybody else's obsession with killing themselves in a tornado? Because let's face it, all these people try to do is kill themselves in a tornado. That's, I mean, like
in the name of science.
The science is all bullshit. They don't seem like they're interested at all in science. They just want to fucking party, bro. It's like, what? They just want to yell a lot.
It's a state college, man. It's not.
Eat steak.
Yeah, I find it super endearing how much
college.
they love Aunt Meg.
Yeah.
I thought that was the best part.
Because she's an enabler of idiots. Yeah. She's like, oh boy, you boys are so neat. I love you so much. And they're
y'all
like,
y'all haven't seen my new work. Like, I don't know, your fucking knives. Like,
go, Meg, you're a genius. You just made a wind chime that swings around.
I love Meg. I don't want to talk bad about her.
Rest in peace.
We should. Wait, she's dead too?
No. Well,
I don't know.
I thought that character was going to die.
Totally.
I thought the character of Meg was going to die. And I thought one of the crew was going to die. And I figured it was probably going to be like Alan Ruck or something where you're like, oh no, Rabbit. No. Now it's personal.
We have to read the maps ourselves.
They don't even have the guts to do that.
You got a Tom? Okay, never mind.
Oh yeah,
it was the perfect opportunity for Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt to go in there, and then like she's trapped, and she's like, "No, get out, save yourselves!" And they leave, and then the house collapses on Meg, and then Bill Paxton's like, "Let's get this son of a bitch tornado."
Oh my god! All right, so on a scale of A+ to F-, A+ being Carrie Elwes as the Dread Pirate Roberts, F- being Carrie Elwes inside a tornado. What do you rate Twister? Where's Twister on this? Tim, lead the way.
Tim should go first. Yeah,
an A+ with a bullet. I can't imagine a better movie about tornadoes existing where Carrie Elwes plays possibly the exact same person, not just the same character, but the same human from Days of Thunder, just transitioned out of police car driving and into storm chasing.
He had range, man.
Just unassailable, A+. Turn the podcast off. That's it.
Okay. All right. See you guys next week.
It's as good as one of Meg's steaks with gravy on it.
It's like a food group.
You see my cows out front? No.
Because I killed them and butchered them, and you're eating them now.
That is some folksy humor.
Wow.
They done got sucked up in the T-Narnado.
T-Narnado. All right. You got barbecued by that gas truck.
Would you like me to go? I would like to go.
Go, Brian.
You should go.
I kind of averaged out 2 scores. So I think from the dramatic side of it actually like being a film, it's a C+. I think the dialogue is like on meth. Like it's just
that's so crappy.
It's just like running with the tornado the whole time to like just get shit out. And then but I think it gets a B+ for all the action. And I thought that's cool, all the tornado. I mean, trucks getting flipped everywhere like that. So I think it averages out as a B for me. Plus, I mean, it's a fun movie. I mean, it's a good popcorn movie. Like, if you look past kind of like Junior, if you look past the science, like it's fine. The fact that the tornado can suck up a tanker truck, but not like a plastic ball,
pickup truck, whatever, or a plastic ball.
So it's a B from me. So I don't know where that falls between the Dread Pirate Roberts and maybe it's Carrie Elwes headed towards getting sucked up in the tornado. So I give I think Twister as it made $242 million. I think.
Did it really?
Yeah. Wow.
It did.
That's a lot.
I forgot to look what the number 1 highest grossing movie that year was because this was number 2. But I enjoyed it. I hadn't seen it in a long time. But
I think it was Birdcage. No, this this one toppled Birdcage. That's what it was. Okay. At that point in the year, Birdcage was on top, and then
Birdcage.
Cat 5 tornadoes destroying the world, or Nathan Lane in drag. You know, there's a lot to choose from that summer.
All right, put me down for a B.
Put you down for a B.
Okay.
I think this is an objectively silly movie on pretty much every level, but it is also very charming. I think the acting is it's tolerable. I don't think there's anyone who is especially egregious. Everyone brings a certain something to it. Bill Paxton is at his most Bill Paxtoniest, which I appreciate. I'll watch that all day long. I don't care. Helen Hunt. I think I felt that, like the two of them both brought it.
Think they had chemistry? You felt?
Yeah, I felt like there was some chemistry there. I think they did a good job.
On-set romance? Are you dropping that bomb right now? Is that
You heard it here first.
No,
folks.
they're good actors. They made me believe that their off again, on again relationship was good. It's going to stand the test of time.
It's tumultuous, like a twister,
just like a tornado.
Right? Yeah.
So I think, all told, I would give it a B-. It's not a great movie. It's good to laugh at. I had a really fun time laughing at it. And I would like to, I'd probably end up watching it again, not for a while, but I'd watch it again.
Yeah, for me, well, I think Bill Paxton is kind of bad in it, and I like Bill Paxton, but I was like, oh,
What?
sometimes he's bad, I guess. He just does a lot of shitty acting in it, where he's just like,
I think he
staring
Bill
off.
Pullman movie.
He's just staring off with weird,
While he was
like
asleep.
crinkled eyes and like his teeth sticking out and going, ugh. And, like, it looks like he has to poop for most of this movie. Helen Hunt is okay. She's like not really well cast for the character, but I'm like, I can't say she did a bad job. I kind of believed her. Jamie Gertz's character, oh my God, that's a shit character. Man, is that a shitty character. Just everything about it sucks. She's annoying.
She left the lemonades on the roof, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, the lemonades on the roof. It's an unpardonable sin. She just goes on these escapades, and you're like, I have no belief that she would do any of this crap. None of it is Jamie Gertz's fault. I don't think she's an amazing actor. She's usually okay. But, you know, at the end, she's like, I'm going to leave after the 9th time you tried to kill me in a tornado. And he's like, what? Really? She's like, yeah, it's not you, it's the tornadoes. And she gets this gentle exit. I'm like, well, this is at least they got rid of her, you know. The poor lady. Philip Seymour Hoffman, I'm like, he's the dumbest fucking character on earth, but I'm enjoying him just because it's Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's just like, most of his lines are woo or who, where you're just like, why is he woo-hooing all the time? I don't care. He's enjoyable. Alan Ruck's, yeah, it's pretty enjoyable. Cary Elwes is just a non-character. Where you're just like, this guy's just a plot point driving a car. So like,
not even driving.
I know, really. Someone else is driving for him. He's just, barking orders. The effects are okay. Like the tornadoes, they look kind of real sometimes. When stuff gets sucked into a tornado, it kind of looks fake sometimes. There's ludicrous shit happening all the time. Just ludicrous, stupid, unbelievable shit, between people and things, between nature and the world. It is an enjoyable action movie, though. I'm going to say as a movie, a believable, character-driven movie, it's a D. As an action movie, I would say it is a B. So I'm going to give it a C. I'm going to split the two and say Twister gets a C. It was enjoyable, but also really kind of stupid. Yeah, I'm probably not going to watch it again, but I didn't hate that I watched it. I did watch it twice.
I was going to say, I think we talk about it a lot, but I feel like having seen this as a 13, 14-year-old, there's always the sprinkle of nostalgia on it a little bit on some of these films, like especially because we do a lot of things from the 80s and 90s, which is essentially, at least mine, the heyday of going to movies and renting movies, so I feel like it always bumps these movies up a little bit because I never thought about, at the time the CGI and this stuff was really cool, but you seeing it now for the first time is like at your age, you're probably like, this is cheesy as shit. But I think you brought this up in an earlier episode too, where you go back and watch something like Jurassic Park and it holds up. Like,
it does. Yeah.
But, I think the way they go about doing it, if you rely on, I think there was probably some still like animatronic type.
Yeah, there's a lot of puppets.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah.
You didn't believe there was a real cow flying by.
Yeah. And that's and that's what I was talking about earlier about how if a movie pulls it off, I'm willing to overlook annoying things and inconsistencies more, where like the kid climbs up the electric fence and they turn the fence and
Timmy,
you're just like, don't let him climb the fence. What the fuck? And they turn the fence and he blows off and he somehow doesn't die. And you're like, we're moving on. Okay. I still like this movie. We're moving on. I'm forgetting about this part. But when the movie isn't as good, that shit kind of piles up and you're like, why is her hair dry now? Where'd the fucking log go from the back of the truck?
Helen Hunt's hair looks great this whole film. Like,
It really does.
Wind blown.
Everyone wears mom jeans, but her hair looks great.
It's always done. Never in a ponytail or anything. It's just
Every character has mom jeans, including the men.
Jordache, man.
It's so funny. Yeah.
All right. Well, I have a Twister game.
Twister game. Is it the game Twister?
It is not the game Twister.
Thank goodness.
All right. So this is called True Twister Facts. 4 questions. First question, multiple choice. So I'm going to read the question, read the answers, A, B, C, or D. You guys choose which one you think the answer is. I will grade you accordingly. All right. Understand the rules?
Yes.
No,
What do I win?
could you repeat
Do you win
those?
anything?
I didn't really.
What
What was the middle part?
Rabbit. Which of the following tornado-related terms are real? Is it A, stratospheric whisper effect? Is it B, gust-nado? Is it C, frontal force out? Or is it D, thermodrift cascade?
What was C?
You mean one of these is real?
I'll read them again.
Only one is real?
One is real. One is real.
Okay.
3 are not.
Okay.
Stratospheric whisper effect is A. B, gust-nado. C, frontal force out. Or D, thermodrift cascade.
Frontal force out.
Satan's anus.
Please be C. Please be C.
I'm guessing A.
I was going to go D.
Stratospheric whisper or whatever.
Greg goes A.
I'm going to go frontal force out just so I could say that.
Brian goes D. Tim goes C.
We all went.
You are all wrong. Gust-nado is the real
Gust-nado.
meteorological term. It is a brief, shallow, surface-based vortex which forms within the downburst emanating. Who cares? That's the real.
Yeah, exactly.
That
That's
means
what
you
they're
made up-
saying
that means
in
you
the
made up
main.
frontal force out.
That's what the people in the control center are saying, and everyone in the audience says, "Who fucking cares?"
Yeah, stratospheric whisper effect and thermodrift cascade. I both made up. Frontal force out is actually the English term for a sumo wrestling move.
That's where I heard that. Okay.
Oh,
All right. I got confused.
I thought it was like hernia
Frontal
surgery or
force
something.
out. Yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. All right. So you all have negative 5 points. So
Fuck you.
question number 2. This is a fill in the blank. The Fujita scale describes the various levels of damage from a tornado as light for an F0, moderate for an F1, considerable for F2, severe for F3, devastating for F4, and blank for F5.
Catastrophic.
I was
What
going to
is
say my
the
first thought was
official
catastrophic.
I'm gonna say
designation?
Catastrophic. Catastrophic.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
got to be
something-
catastrophic.
Yeah.
Catastrophic. All 3 of you are going with catastrophic. All 3 of you are wrong.
Wait, damn it.
The answer is incredible.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. That is the official designation for an F5 tornado.
Incredible.
Incredible.
How much damage is there, sir? Incredible damage. Okay.
They
Nice.
should redo that.
All right. You all have negative 10 points now.
You should just say we're all 0. What are you giving me negative points? Negative points. You're going to climb out of a hole now.
Greg, you now have
Start-
negative 30.
I'm starting to question
Fuck you.
if Tim
Around the horn.
is actually an expert in meteorology. Disaster meteorology.
He may have embellished his resume a little.
Yeah. When submitting his CV,
You all
for
have
this
time to
episode,
win
I think
points
he
back.
was
Don't
lying.
worry.
He may have done a George Santos. Actually invented tornadoes.
All right. So question number 3.
I named the Fujita scale F5 for incredible.
Incredible.
My middle name is Fujita.
All right. Question number 3. This is a multiple choice. 4 options again. The highest wind speeds ever measured globally were from a tornado, which resulted in 583 injured and 36 killed. What was the name of this tornado? Is it A, 1999 Bridge Creek Moore tornado, B, 1993 Ironman Buchanan tornado, C, 1985 John Fell Cantioto tornado, or D, 1953 Preston North End tornado?
I'm going to go with A.
Preston North End.
A.
Wait, what was A?
A is 1999 Bridge Creek Moore tornado.
Sounds legit.
1993 Ironman Buchanan tornado.
That one's good.
1985 Janfell Cantioto tornado.
I'm going with that one.
1953 Preston North End tornado.
I think Joshua made up.
Can it be
3.
Preston North End? D. I'm going D. I like that one.
All right. Brian's going with D. Greg, you said A?
Yeah, I think you made up C at least.
Tim, what did you say?
I'm also A.
Also A. All right. Greg and Tim, you now have, let's say, -5 points. You got it right. It is A.
Got it right.
1989 Bridge Creek Moore tornado is a real tornado that hit Moore is a suburb of Oklahoma City.
There you go.
I know I have family there. That's why I knew that one.
You know what?
Ironman Buchanan is actually an episode of Baywatch where Mitch tries to show he can still compete with younger men by taking
I was
part
like
in Iron
Man. It's probably not it. Yeah.
John Fell Cantioto tornado is a portmanteau of all the members of the hardcore band Rites of Spring.
Oh,
That's why you like that one.
I thought it was more of a frontal force, so I was going with that one.
And Preston North End is just a English Association football club.
It's a guy named Preston that Joshua knows, plus the neighborhood in Boston that serves good cannoli.
People accuse us of not trying in this podcast, but I feel like we put a lot of effort into this. I mean, you got quizzes.
Joshua did at least.
It's nice to be recognized occasionally. All right, last question. Final round. This is another multiple choice, but only 3 options here. Which Twister slang is not real tornado slang? Which slang used in the movie Twister is not actually real tornado slang? Is it A, birdcage? Is it B, drunkards? Or is it C, sisters? All 3 of these were used in the movie Twister. Which one is not a real tornado slang? Which one's fake? Which one's fake?
I mean, I think if the birdcage was the other top grossing movie of this year, I'm going to say that is Joshua using the birdcage as an example. Yeah, a tell. Yeah,
like a Freudian slip.
Philip Seymour Hoffman goes, "It's in the birdcage. Here, take a peek. You can really feel it through a telephoto lens." That was
She's like, you have grass in the telephoto lens. I know everything. Get the grass out of the telephoto lens, you idiot.
That's the same as Schwarzenegger walking by and
totally
like, drops.
It's exactly what I thought. She's like telling everyone how to do their job and they're all wrong.
She's smart. She's smart.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Guess what?
Birdcage.
What was 2?
Drunkards.
Sisters. How is drunkards? Can you use that in a Twister term?
The water
Twister scene.
Water
Twisters. It was the first Twister that went by where you couldn't tell which way it was going. He was like, "We got drunkards. We got drunkards."
I thought it was the one in the water. Or like, what the fuck? I didn't think Twisters could go in the fucking water.
The water was.
Spout?
There were 2.
Yeah.
Split into 2. And we got sisters.
A birdcage makes no sense.
Yeah,
I'd say
birdcage. Got to
is
be
what I
birdcage.
thought. Yeah, birdcage.
All right, this was a trick question. They're all not real. They made them all.
So we're all right.
Oh, they made all their. So
birdcage is close though to a real term. In searching for this, I was looking for birdcage and I could find no reference to it, but I came up with bear's cage. Is an actual tornado term. The precipitation that wraps around a mesocyclone, possibly hiding a tornado on the ground. Which
maybe that's what he says.
No, I went to the script itself. He says birdcage. I was like,
he does the research.
This seems like a goof.
He would have known it was John Pinette.
Right. So
not
the winner is I'm going to go with Tim because he's the guest.
Damn it.
Congratulations.
We had the same score. Yeah.
No, you had negative 30 because you were doubting the scoring mechanism for that.
Fuck you.
Negative 50.
Fuck you.
So does this like
scores.
add shore points to my Jersey Mike's account for winning?
It does. We will contact Danny DeVito.
Or is it like a
He'll be in
couple
touch.
primes? Like, what do I win for?
Did you know that they sponsor us, Tim?
Yeah.
Oh,
Jersey
of
Mike's?
course I knew that. Yeah,
He's a big fan.
Sponsor, yeah.
but my promo code that Brian gave me it still won't work. But you know, give it time.
For every guest for joining the episode, you get a free bag of Miss Vicky's chips. Or a gluten-free sub.
or do they incorporate maize gravy on any of their products? That'd be great.
We're working on that number now.
Yeah, maybe it'll be the Twisters tie-in at Jersey Mike's this summer.
Twisters time. Maize gravy. It's its own food group.
Would you like this Maze Way?
Add it. Add it to any sandwich for 50 cents. Maze Way. Have it Maze Way.
Is it a steak? Just a steak. That's it. Not a sandwich.
Yeah, just a roast beef with gravy.
All right. Well, before we choose next week's selection, just want to say thanks to Tim for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. This was a blast.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't know if you're going to bring you back ever again, but
We've
Will
learned
this
so
actually
much.
air? I mean, what's the?
In approximately 1 week. Yes.
We've learned so much from Tim this week.
Yeah.
I'm really going to take
Can we
this
count
with
on
me.
you to come on back for Twisters, the sequel?
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah, have to be.
Twisters.
Yeah.
Open invitation. For
Yeah,
the
no
next
one- we don't-
weather-based
Yeah,
phenomenon.
we don't have any guests. Feel free to join anytime you want.
Okay, well, next week it is up to me. I'm making the choice. I'm going to make a game time decision here.
Ooh.
Brian and Greg, would
It's
you guys
dangerous.
rather do something musical or a film?
I would choose movie pretty much every time, but
I would probably choose movie as well.
All right, well then
Yeah.
we are going to watch the comedic film Super Troopers.
Good
no.
one.
Music. Music.
Music.
Music.
Nope, I have spoken. You both now have negative.
Isn't that like the
100 points.
drunken lizard?
Isn't the guys
group
with
or
the
something?
short
Yeah.
shorts, and that's supposed to be funny?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's going to be silly.
I don't
I
know.
think it's after.
I haven't seen this film. Have you
Since
seen
I
it,
made a
Greg?
game time decision, I have no knowledge of it queued up other than remembering seeing it. So I couldn't tell you anything. So it takes place in Vermont, I want to say, but
I'm going to say it right now. I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm going to go through it. I'm going to sit through it.
yeah. I do have to say, I think looking at the data, pretty much every choice that I've made has been one of the lowest ranking episodes.
I would
to
say
date,
your
so,
taste is in the suck zone.
Yeah.
Your taste is in your ass.
See you next week.
All right.
Spotting the bus to work. Just reading cartoons in Newsweek magazine. Listening to Massive Attack.
It's not you, it's the tornadoes.